of Jeff and Jill's Puerto Rican Kitchen, where we show you how to make easy, authentic Puerto Rican recipes. We continue to spend the holidays down here in Puerto Rico, and right now we're in the town of Mayagüez in the West Coast, where Jeff's family is from. And I'm sharing the kitchen with Titi Carmen. Titi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. A few months ago, we did a very basic sofrito recipe, and we've gotten a lot of comments. Now that we're down here in Puerto Rico, we want to remake the recipe a little bit and add a few more authentic ingredients. So Titi, if I want to find the freshest produce, where should I go?
Well, we normally go to Plaza del Mercado, which is the market. And, you know, all the farmers come there and they sell their produce, and that's where we get fresh vegetables in Puerto Rico.
And do you think we can find this stuff for sofrito there?
Sure.
Well, let's go.
Let's go.
Yo te traigo esta bomba puertorriqueña. Yo te la traigo de Cupey, de Vega Baja y de Santurce, de todas partes de Puerto Rico.
I'm not sure about you, but I love food shopping. I love going to a market and enjoying all the wonderful colors and sights of fresh produce. Plazas del Mercado have a long history in Puerto Rico. There's usually one Plaza del Mercado in each town, and I have great memories of going to the one in my hometown, Humacao, to buy fresh produce for my grandpa's restaurant. It was my first time visiting this Plaza del Mercado in Mayagüez, but they all have the same general setup. Lots of individually owned stalls full of fresh produce. We got to visit Mr. Lebron and ask him about the ingredients for sofrito. And as a typical Puerto Rican, he had some strong opinions as to what we should include in our sofrito recipe.
Sí, mira, queremos hacer un sofrito pero bien original. ¿Qué necesitamos?
Pues de cilantrillo, pimiento, ajíes dulces, culantro y ajo y cebolla y tomate.
Pues nos da una cantidad para hacer
un poquito, no va a ser
pues,
mucho.
No, y nos diga qué son. Son los ajíes dulces ahí.
Este es ají dulce.
Y están verdecitos.
Verdecito. Tengo cilantro.
Ajá.
Tengo ajo.
Ok.
El cilantrillo. Más o menos para que quede todo igual. Y tengo las cebollas.
¿Son blancas o...?
Esta es la de cocinar, la que pica.
Ok.
Entonces tenemos el pimiento.
¿Cuál usar?
¿Cómo se llama ese pimiento?
Pimiento cubanelle.
Cubanelle.
Con esto te da para lo que te lleva.
Ok.
Entonces, ¿tú le echas tomate también? Tomate para que quede bueno.
Bueno, usted me dice, ¿usted le echa tomate?
Sí.
¿Tomate?
Este tomate de Puerto Rico, mira, para moler.
Ok.
Con esos tres te doy.
Ok.
Ya llevo un sofrito excelente con todo, ya lo molde y lo
Y lo echo en la
licuadora. ¿Algo más?
No, si eso es
eso es
contado.
todo. Well, that was a fun trip to the Plaza del Mercado, Titi.
Sure it was.
And so we got some great ingredients.
And great advice.
And great advice. For those of you that have seen our last sofrito video, with the ingredients that we used were cubanelle peppers, onions, cilantro, and garlic. Lots of garlic, because as we've said, we Puerto Ricans love garlic.
Do we? We really do.
But now we've added some additional ingredients.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about them?
We got this advice from the man there at the plaza. He said that normally people will go to the plaza and they would ask for tomatoes. And they would also ask for this type of pepper, which is called ají dulce.
Mm-hmm.
This is called ají dulce, and other people call it canecos.
Mm-hmm.
And they add this to their sofrito, and everybody will add recao. You know, this is found in every Puerto Rican home. And the aroma, and it just tastes wonderful. It gives it that specific taste.
And it grows wild. It's very easy for people to find it everywhere in Puerto Rico. Hard for me to find it in New York City, actually.
Really?
Yes, and so, but I have great memories of going to the backyard where my grandma was gonna make sofrito, and you just kind of walk around, and you can usually find it by the smell.
Everybody has it in the backyard.
I know. So Titi, these are some of the things. I've never added tomatoes to my sofrito, but like the man said at the plaza, most people do. And so are there other things that you add?
Okay, I add pimiento morrones.
Okay, so the roasted red peppers.
Yes, and I also add olives sometimes.
Oh wow, that sounds like a great idea.
And it gives it this luscious taste.
Yeah, well, there's no standard recipe for sofrito, as you can see. We've heard a lot of your comments, but this is what we're gonna use today. We're going to use 4 cubanelle peppers, 3 onions, about 15 garlic cloves, a little bunch of cilantro, about 5 ajies dulces, 3 tomatoes, and about a small bunch, about 10 stems of recao. So we're going to clean all of this. We're gonna put this straight into your food, so you wanna make sure you clean it very thoroughly.
Yes, you do.
And then you wanna chop it a little bit, and then we're gonna put it in the food processor, and we'll have a great sofrito that's going to make the perfect. It's just a starter condiment for any amazing Puerto Rican food.
Start by thoroughly washing your ingredients. You want to remove all the dirt from the cilantro and the recao. Most of these veggies come straight from a farm to the Plaza del Mercado, so they have not been rinsed as some of the ones that you may buy at a grocery store. Do the same with the peppers and the tomatoes, making sure to remove any dirt from each of them. All of these vegetables have been grown locally. Now you're ready to start pureeing the vegetables. Start with the tomatoes and cut each of them in fourths and add them to the food processor. I suggest starting with the tomatoes as they have a lot of water in them, so you will not need to add additional water to get the sofrito. Once you have added all of the tomatoes, then add the 3 yellow onions. These onions have been peeled and cut in half. Cut each of them one more time, so they will actually be in fourths. Although we asked Mr. Lebron for ingredients for a small batch of sofrito, these ended up being quite a lot. And this food processor is a bit tight for all the ingredients, so we're gonna be doing it in batches. However, if you can fit all your ingredients at once, then go ahead and do that. You will notice that we're using a food processor here. You can also puree and mix the sofrito in a blender. You will get very similar results, so just use whichever one you have at home. If you're using the food processor, then do a mix of pulsing and running the food processor on high. You will need to open the food processor and mix the contents every once in a while to make sure that everything is evenly pureed. Take a large bowl and place the first batch of ingredients. Add the garlic cloves to the food processor. Then cut and clean your peppers. Remove all of the seeds and stems as they have a bitter taste and you don't want to include that taste in your sofrito. Then cut each pepper in 8s and add it to the food processor. Puree and mix those ingredients using the same process as before. Pulse and run on high, mixing the ingredients as necessary. Then cut and clean the ajies dulces. As with the cubanelle peppers, remove all of the seeds and stem as they also have a bitter taste. Ajies dulces have a strong particular taste. This type of pepper is related to the habaneros, but it has a much milder taste and it's not spicy at all. Add the ajies dulces to the food processor. Cut off the ends of the stems of the recao and then cut it in half and add it to the food processor. Finally, take the cilantro and cut it into thirds and add it to the food processor. Puree all of them in the food processor, once again alternating between pulsing and running on high. Add the pureed garlic, peppers, ajies, recao, and cilantro to the same large bowl which included the first batch of ingredients and mix it all thoroughly. This sofrito will have a light green color as a result of adding the tomatoes.
Well, there's our sofrito. Smells good.
It smells great. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of agree that adding the tomatoes was not something that we usually do.
Yes, we don't do it normally, but we normally use tomatoes in everything else we do.
Yeah, we do add tomato sauce.
Yes.
Usually when you add sofrito, you end up adding a little bit of tomato sauce. So it'll be interesting to see when we use this, we'll probably just add a little bit less tomato sauce.
You can add less tomato sauce and you will get the authentic taste of tomatoes. The tomato sauce is not the same thing as just having fresh
tomatoes. Yes. But yeah, I mean, this was super easy to make. It's so, just smells so great. It just smells so Puerto Rican to me.
And Jo Maria, I'd like to let you know that, this is quite an amount of sofrito.
Yes, it is a lot.
What we normally do is we freeze half of it, and half of it we put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah, or even less than half. Whatever you think you're gonna use. I mean, how long do you leave your sofrito in the fridge for?
I leave it in the refrigerator for no more than 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah, that sounds about right. It kind of starts getting a little bit, sour, exactly.
It turns a little bit sour.
And so because of all the fresh ingredients. So another thing I've seen people do is they actually take ice, like an ice cube maker, and they put them in like little in there, and then just take out the little ice cubes. And every time you're gonna do something, you just put one ice cube.
Well, I used to do that before, but then now what I do is I just put them in little plastic bags. The snack
size bag.
Yeah. And then I freeze those bags, and then what I do is just take them out just like out of the bag and just put it right into the pot.
Yeah, it's great. And how long would you leave it in the freezer for?
3 weeks, no more than 3
No,
weeks.
in the freezer.
Oh, in the freezer, most of the time I have it about a month.
About a month?
It will last about a month in the freezer.
Yeah, and there you have it. I mean, it's a super easy recipe. It's really the cornerstone of Puerto Rican flavoring.
That's right. Without that, I mean, you don't have Puerto Rican food.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much for watching this video. We'll see you again next week on another episode of Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and see you again next week.
See you.